Nigeria: politics, education, economy, governance, and everything in between. All right, we are live on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel on High Voltage News. Like, leave a comment, and share the video for others to be part of the conversation. And you can also join us live on the studio by calling in on 0706 048 5853 or 0915 570 8347. And you can send an SMS or WhatsApp message depending on what is more convenient for you. Remember that when you call into the studio, your comments should be very clean and very civil as well. All right, so this morning we are going to be looking at the renewed call for to privatize the Nigerian government-owned refineries. Yes, yesterday there's been a call that the federal government should sell the refineries since they are not doing anything with it. So for decades, Nigeria has poured billions of dollars into refineries that simply doesn't work. We look around us, we don't see the Port Harcourt refinery, the Warri refineries, the Kaduna refineries. All of them are just become like a national monument where you just spend money and it's not yielding any results, no positive results. So we look around every administration, they come and they go. They promise us that they're going to turn around the maintenance, rehabilitate the refinery so that it will start working for Nigerians. They spend billions of naira. They leave them worse than before, than what it used to be. So now the Director General of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria says that it is time that we all stop pretending. And so in other, he's trying to say that it is time that the government sells this to people that are capable, the people that can undo it, the people that can put it to better use. So instead of remaining there and doing nothing, he is asking that the government sell it off so that the private investors can do something with it. And you know, it's very hard to argue with this point because after so many years, after so much money, and all the question remains: how can the largest oil producer in Africa still import almost all its refined fuel? So we can't argue it. It's something that we see. We look at it every day. So we agree. I totally agree with what he's saying. It's time that Nigeria has to let go of this refinery and at least sell it off to people that can undo it. All right, so because we are going to dive in later into this, but let's quickly take a look at the top stories, the major headlines making rounds in today's papers. Okay, the crisis in the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has deepened as the faction loyal to the minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, insists that the party's national convention, scheduled to hold November 15th and 16th, will not go ahead. So the group says that it is acting in obedience to the court orders. That's the Federal High Court judgment that altered the convention. The faction also confirmed that it has filed an appeal to seek further clarification on the ruling and has already notified the Independent National Electoral Commission of its position. But then, the Oyo State chapter of the PDP, the ones that are loyal to Governor Seyi Makinde and the acting national chairman, Umar Damagun, has dismissed those claims. So the state chapter insists that the convention will hold as planned, describing the Wike-backed group as suspended members trying to cause confusion within the party. So this crisis that we see is the latest chapter in a long-running power struggle between the Wike camp and other PDP governors who have disagreed over the control of the party structures since the 2023 elections. So there's been a lot of fight going on in that party. And we've been asking them to deal with the internal issues. Because how are you going to fight yourself and expect to win the 2027 general election? When are they going to come together, sit, and do something about it? Because the way it seems like Wike is a weapon fashioned against this party. So we don't know where he is, supporting APC and as well in the party, causing a lot of fights in PDP. All right, so but meanwhile, the PDP National Secretariat is in Abuja remains sealed after a clash between the two factions. So it's just fight ongoing between the leaders, the party leadership. All right, still on the newspaper, the federal government has rejected the United States decision to list Nigeria as a country of particular concern over alleged religious persecution. So at a meeting in Abuja, officials insisted that the claim was false and misleading. And the permanent secretary at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said Nigeria's laws protect all religions equally and insists that Christians and Muslim institutions operate freely across the country. So what they are trying to say is that what the US is saying is totally wrong. It's not saying exactly what is going on in the country. So they are refuting the claims of the US President Donald Trump. And they're insisting that the country should not be named a country of particular concern, that the insecurity, the terrorism, the banditry is affecting every one of us and not just a group of persons and not a particular religion in the country. All right, so some of the people, the Information Minister Mohammed Idris also faulted the US reports, saying that insecurity in Nigeria is not driven by religion, but by crime and terrorism. And he said that since President Bola Tinubu took office in 2023, security agencies have neutralized more than 13,000 terrorists and arrested over 17,000 suspects. Meanwhile, he also claims that they've rescued nearly 10,000 abducted persons. All right, a lot of persons said so many things, but then some of the Nigerians have urged the government to handle the matter very carefully. Because when you confront the US aggressively, it could backfire. It could backfire. So there's wisdom in this. There's a way to go about it. All right, next on the newspaper, we see how Nigeria lost $300 billion to crude oil thefts. That's assessed by Senate. All right, federal government blasts foreign lobbyists over Christian genocide claim. Court gives Nnamdi Kanu final chance to open defense. Okay, on the Daily Sun, Tinubu has political will to fight terrorism. Federal government says that Tinubu has political will to fight terrorism and says that Nigeria confronting complex security challenges, not religious persecution. Okay, Sorore accuses federal government of planning the death sentence or life imprisonment for Nnamdi Kanu. Tinubu Sultan Uzodinma Governor's media personality headline editors conference. Okay, on the Vanguard newspaper, we see that PDP crisis, BOT stays neutral and urges reconciliation. Senate moves stiffer penalty for persons ripening fruits with harmful chemicals. And ASU accuses Minister of misleading Nigerians and threatens to resume strike. And on the Punch newspaper, food imports soar 45% as local production falters. Tinubu to open editors conference November 12. Federal government engages diplomats, rallies military commanders, and this is still on Trump's threats on the government. And then 15% import tariff could make Nigeria fuel producing powerhouse. And lastly, on the Punch newspaper, Soyinka says I predicted mass US visa, green card revocations. All right, these are the major headlines on today's papers. And if you have any opinion to make on what has been read to you so far, you can call into the studio on 0706 048 5853 or 0915 570 8347. And yes, we are going to take a short break. And when we return, we'll go dive right into the story that we have for this morning.
Welcome to the show and a presenter that won't stop giving it their all.
Hi, my name is Ogio, your pilot one, and I'm passing the mic to the one that has Horaga Pierce in her palms.
Hello everyone, my name is Audrey and I'm passing the mic to the judge and peacemaker in Volt FM Sports.
I am Bodley and I'm passing the mic to the Igbo culture expert in Lagos Cultural Jesus.
Hey, we're going on an egg monte. I found Bantичinazo. Actually, being Mike, Tonya, who know only has seen an Capulis, but generally in Nigeria.
What's up, my people? I go by the name Notso with the magic voice, aka King of Badore United, and I'm passing the mic to one person who will be people like Okafor.
Hi, whole family. My name is John and I'm passing the mic to the driver winner the collective. You know now.
Hi, neighbor, it's Jason here, and I'm passing the mic to the one that has the magic to heal your broken heart.
My name is Malaika and I am passing the mic to you. Yes, you. For being part of.
Oh, 104.3 FM.
All right, welcome back to High Voltage on Volt 104.3 FM, your weekday news analysis show where we review and analyze the news. Yes, you can call us on 0706 048 5853 or 0915 570 8347. And we are live on YouTube. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel on High Voltage News. Leave a comment, like and share the video for others to be part of the conversation. All right, before we head into the story for today, let's take a call regarding the newspaper headlines. Hello, good morning. Good morning, you're welcome. Please, your name and your location. All right, go ahead, please. Yes. The Senate approved it yesterday. Yes. Well, it has to be the same thing on the senator. Do we have anyone? Okay, you are talking about the Senate president.
Okay. There are so many of them like that. The Senate president is just like the woman cried out.
Okay, yes.
So lecturers are going to fight it. You see, this country, they want to point this country. They cannot make that. In fact, that whatever they approve is, I call it null and void.
Okay.
Lecturers are like, yes. So many people are listening. What happens to a sitting Senate president, a married woman accused, and he's still sitting down there, and they're making a law that 14 years just done for a lecture anyway. I think lecturers are coming up with this their stride and all that. They are going to stand up against a lot of the question to be answered. What happens to a senator that is accused of sexual harassment? That's what happens.
All right.
They are trying to talk. Yes. So many people are listening. What happens?
Because it's something they're supposed to look into. All right, thank you so much. The thing is really, because when you make a law against a particular person, you also have to put yourself in the same shoe. Because I get the point where it's coming from. This issue of harassment, I mean, Senator Natasha Akpoti cried out and there was no investigation. Rather, she was suspended because they felt that she was speaking against an authority and she was suspended instead of looking into the matter. The truth is, we've been around, we've seen what power does. Yes, there's abuse of power in Nigeria. We also see the domestic violence accusation against Senator Ned Nwoko, and nobody is looking into it. Nobody is investigating the matter. So yes, while we will met some punishment for some particular persons, let's ensure that, let's make it general. It shouldn't just be for the lecturers. Yes, it's a common thing that happens in universities. Harassment, male lecturers harassing the female ones harassing the male students is something that has been happening for years. But then it's not just in the universities. It's almost everywhere. So when you are passing a law like this, it should be a general one. What happens to the senator? What happens when a governor is accused of something like this? What happens when the president is accused of harassment? What do you do in issues like this? So it should get to everybody and not just a particular set of person. Thank you so much for calling in and giving your view on this particular matter. All right, so we are moving straight to what we have this morning. You know, we've already talked about refineries on this show. The last time we talked about it, it was on the 15% tariff for the import duty. That's what we talked about. But this morning we are going into a different direction. Now there's been a call to privatize the Nigerian refineries. People are coming out to say that if the federal government cannot handle it, why not sell it to people that can undo it? Why do we keep claiming that we have refineries in Port Harcourt, refineries in Kaduna, and then refineries in Warri, and then we don't see what it is doing in the country? So this conversation is not something that started today. It has lingered for many years. But this time it seems that a stronger political will is behind it. Now, just yesterday, the Director General of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria said what many Nigerians have been thinking, that we cannot keep wasting the public funds that we do not have. We keep borrowing. We borrow trillions of naira, and then we spend it on refineries that are not working. So instead of borrowing and spending on something that will never work, he said that the government should privatize the refineries once and for all. Let's see that this is the step that they have taken. This is what they want to do. And then maybe it's going to work. Maybe when they sell it, those private investors will really, because you cannot buy something and allow it to fail. As a businessman, if you own something, you will work hard to ensure that it starts working. So this call to privatize it is what we are looking into today, and it is what I want you to bring your opinion and tell us about what you think. Is it okay for the government to privatize, to sell the refineries, or should they continue finding ways to fix it? Doing things, spending money on it, rehabilitations, and ensuring that at least one day, one of these days, is going to work. So the thing is that he is not alone. The special advisor to President Bola Tinubu on energy confirmed that the federal government is open to selling the refineries. So this is actually a big shift, because for the first time we are hearing official voices from the presidency saying that maybe it is really time to let go of these refineries. It is time to sell it and then focus on other things. Because we look at it, we look at the private refinery, the Dangote-owned refinery, and we see that it's doing better than the three refineries combined together. It's doing a lot better. So think about it. For over 20 years, Nigerians have budgeted billions for turnaround maintenance, and then there's nothing. Workers are paid, equipments are bought, contracts are awarded, because it's people that are collecting this money. Engineers, they collect it to fix the refineries, and at the end of the day, we keep hearing stories. Nothing is working. Those plants are not useful. So why keep it over the years when it's not doing anything? So we are looking at it. Is it right? Is it okay to privatize it? All the refineries, we are not just talking about one, to sell off all the refineries to private investors who know what to do upon it, who can take charge, and then bring about a total turnaround on the refineries. Because it's almost as if our government does not want to admit failure. We look around, we see, when we know, we as citizens, we see things not working right. But most times the government try to cover it up, promising us that this is going to work, promising us this and that. But every year it's still the same thing. Nothing is really working out in the refineries. So what are the government supposed to do? Should we hold on to it? Or should we sell it off? These are the questions. Your opinion is what I need. Should we sell off the refineries, or should we hold on to it and keep fixing it until something comes out of it? Because while we are at it, why years keeps coming and going, we are spending a lot of money on the refineries. We are collecting loans. Now the country is in debt, and we are still spending on these plants that has refused to work for the Nigerians. So why hold on to it if it's not going to be of any benefit to us? So this particular call from the Manufacturing Association of Nigeria is something we really need to look into, talk about it. Is it the right call? Is it the right call? Because we look at, most times when things are sold to private sectors, it works better than when the federal government are holding on to it. Look around you. Look around the federal institutions, the private institutions, the federal companies. Look around. When you compare all this, the private owned and the federal owned, there are differences. Even in our hospitals, when you go there, you go to a federal hospital, you go to a private hospital, you will know, you will notice the difference. There are lots of difference. So now, when they sell these refineries, we believe that there is going to be a lot of difference when a private investor owns the refineries. We're already seeing what Dangote is doing. Because when you put your money into something, you want it to grow. You want to make profit, yes. So you won't just let it go idle. You won't just let it. So we believe that when this is done, that there's going to be improvement in the oil sector of the country. There's going to be improvement there. So we look at the telecom sector. When it was privatized, people we were like, are you sure it's going to work? But today, we all enjoy the cheaper calls and better service. So why can't we replicate it in the oil sector? There is need. I mean, at a time like this is what we should be thinking about. This is what we should be doing. I mean, why one person has come out to say it? Now the federal government should agree to it and then sell it off, because it's not doing anything. It's been very idle for years. So they really need to be, let's not forget that the Dangote refinery is already producing this petrol, producing the diesel. So imagine if our government owns refineries, we are functioning alongside this. That means Nigeria could be exporting fuel and not importing it. So it was functional. If it has been functioning over the years, we will not have any need to import fuel. We'll be the ones selling it to people outside the country. So we would have had more jobs. We would have had more opportunities in the country. We would have had more foreign exchange. And then less pressure on the Naira. The Naira today is strengthened, tomorrow is weakened. Because things are not really working properly in the economic sector. So if only the government can listen and do what they are supposed to do in this oil sector, maybe things will become better. Now, we are not defeating the claim that the side that maybe when a private owned person collects the refineries, that they might increase the amount of fuel. But we are just saying, let it start working first. Let the refineries start working. Instead of Nigerians depending on one man, depending on one refinery, depending on the imports of fuel petrols, when it's something that we can do inside our own country. So to be fair, the Manufacturers Association, they said something very important. Because this new policy of the 15% import tariff on petrol and diesel, it should encourage the local refining. But if the government are not ready on the local refining, they should sell it off to people that are ready to undo it. They should do that, because it would mean that both the Dangote refinery, the smaller one, would have this market advantage. It will help, and when we patronize those people, it's going to come maybe at a cheaper rate. Because we come from the side of, if the 15% tariff is on imported fuel, and if these ones start working and there's no need to import this fuel, that means we won't have to worry about the 15% tariff. If the ones in the country are working, we won't have any need to talk about these imports, because nobody will be importing. Everybody will be dependent on what is happening inside the country and not out. So the government should look into this and maybe find a better solution to ensure that these refineries are working. The ones in Port Harcourt, the ones in Warri, the one in Kaduna, they should find a way to fix it. If they have to listen to the Manufacturers Association, they should listen to them and sell it off. They should. So we need to really get to this point where we are not solely dependent on imports, because it looks like the country is importing almost everything that is needed. We import food when we are supposed to be farming, when we have the right soil. Everything is being imported into the country. But at least it's time we should shift. In this oil sector, we should shift to the point that there's no import. We don't import fuel, but we produce everything in the country. Because when you think about it, when you export it, it's even helping the revenue of the country. But then there's fear about people, about this privatization. There's a lot of fear amongst the citizens, like, won't it create another monopoly? What if only one or two persons end up owning everything? The fixing of prices, they're going to fix prices as they like. Yes, we agree that when they sell it off, when they privatize it, it's going to start working. But then on the other side, will the prices remain the same? Will the prices go lower? Or will the prices go higher? Because as a private owned person, you have the right to fix any amount. But then the solution to this is regulation. Even when it's been owned by a private organization, an individual, there has to be regulation. The government needs to regulate the prices of this fuel and ensure that we are buying it at the right amount. We are getting it at the right amount. So we've seen what happens when these competitions doesn't exist, because one or two persons are the ones controlling a particular sector in the country. But we believe that there are ways around this. We strongly believe that there are ways around it. Because when we look at the power sector, yes, it has been privatized, but then we still do not have this 247 power. But maybe while the telecom sector is working perfectly, maybe the oil sector will work very well when it's being bought by a private investor. So call us on 0706 048 5853 or 0915 570 8347. Do you believe that selling off this Nigerian's refinery will put an end to the fuel importation? Do you think that is right? Is high time that the country sold it off to private investors? What's your take? What's your opinion? Or do you think we should just end up transferring these problems from the public hands to private hands, or we should keep pushing money into the refineries every year? What's the best thing that you think at this current time where we are in the country? What is best for the country? Selling it or keep fixing it until it starts working? Leave a comment on our YouTube channel on High Voltage News. Share the video for people to also be part of the conversation. Remember that you are tuned into High Voltage on Volt 104.3 FM. So call us on 0706 048 5853 or 0915 570 8347. Let us get your opinion and know what you think about the whole thing. Because now, beyond the economics of it, beyond the whole thing, the experts are saying that it is the right thing to do. There's also the human side. There's also thousands of people are working in these refineries. A lot of people, yes. So if they are sold, what happens to the workers? So we are trying to balance the whole thing. While it's going to be of a great benefit to the country, while it's going to generate a lot of revenue for the country, we are still asking, what happens to those who are working in those refineries if it's been sold? So we are looking at the opinion of the Manufacturers Association. We want to understand if it's the right thing for the country to do. Because you know that this is another part of the conversation that cannot be ignored. Because while we are trying to fix the system, we also have to protect the people's livelihood. We also have to protect those that are working there. Because this is the country we are. It's not easy to find a job anywhere. Because most times when a new leadership takes over, the first thing they do is to downsize, to remove people and fix in new other person that they feel can handle the job. So their jobs, it also needs to be protected. And another point worth mentioning is that if the government truly believes in Nigeria first, as they always say, then we need to start acting like this. We need to start acting like Nigerians are first. The citizens are first. And I've said this before, we cannot keep exporting crude and importing the petrol. We cannot keep doing that. It doesn't make sense anymore in this century for a country that has long been in this business, for a country that is rich in these resources. We cannot keep importing petrol. It doesn't sit right. We have experts sitting in those positions. We have people who know what to do, who know the solution to the problems that we are having in the country. It's time that they started doing something about the whole issue. The country is importing a lot of things. Maybe we can fix the oil sector. At least let's focus on this part. Before we can move on to the other areas, let's focus on this and at least stop the importation. But that is until the refinery starts working. Because if it's not working and you stop importation, then it's going to cause a lot of harm in the economy. It's going to cause a lot of harm for the citizens. So we need to start doing something towards this. And when you link the old stuff to the old thing, to the 15% import tariff, why we are still asking the government? Because a lot of people think that is beneficial to the citizens. A lot of people have been coming out to say that this is a commendable act of the president. Meanwhile, millions of Nigerians are saying that it is wrong. Because if these things are not working, you cannot come and put a whole 15% on those that are importing it to make life easier for the people in the country. So what are the best ways to ensure that the refineries in the country are working? Is it by privatizing it? Is it by selling it off to private investors? Or is it by doing more rehabilitation? Spending more money? Because it keeps the country in debt. It keeps the country in poverty. When you keep putting your all, putting your money inside something that is not working. So let us know your thoughts on this issue. Because if we are to support the local refining, if we are to support the local production, these are the ways that we can do it. Because if the firms are working, if the plans are working, then we won't have to worry a lot on how to get this fuel, on how to get petrol. We won't have to worry. Look at kerosene, look at the price. So people are struggling already. So if these are the best ways to fix the oil sector, then the government should go ahead and do it. If what it takes is to sell it off, then they should go on. If this is going to put an end to all the suffering on the price hike in the oil sector, then they should sell it. They should privatize the whole refinery in the country. But I still need to know what you think about this issue. This concern that has been raised by the Manufacturers Association about the government privatizing the oil, the refineries in the country, about the government selling it. So 0706-048-5853 or 0915-570-8347. And while we are trying to privatize the oil refineries, we have to do it right. While the presidency has said that they are open to selling it, there has to be the right way to do it. Because we don't want all these backroom deals. We need to know who bought it. We need to know how they are doing it. Not all these overnight billionaires that we don't know where they came from. We need to know the people, the credible investors that are going to take over the refineries. And one thing that is going to make everything work out is transparency. They need to operate transparently. And the result that the Nigerians can feel, that is what we want. They should deliver the results that we can feel. The ones that we want. Positive results. Because of course the government has been delivering a lot of results negatively that the citizens are feeling. So maybe for once they can do something that is going to affect us in a positive way. So while this group has made this opinion, what do you think about it? Is it really okay at this point to sell it off? Or should we keep rehabilitating? Should we keep maintaining the refineries? Should we keep spending the hard money that we keep borrowing, the loans that we are borrowing, should we keep pushing it into the refineries to make it work? What exactly do you think is the right thing to do? Because the thing is, this is about whether Nigerians can stand on their own feet in the energy sector. It's not just about the Port Harcourt refinery or the Kaduna refinery. It's about whether we can really stand on this energy sector. The truth remains, is the government ready? So if the government is not ready, they should sell it to people that are ready, to people that can take charge of these refineries, the people that can turn it all around to make it work for the citizens. This is what we really need at a point at this time. This is what we need. Because this is coming from the period of the government imposing the 15% tariff. So if you want everything to work out, then make the refineries work. If they are not selling it, they should fix it. Let us see the results of these refineries, the result of all the money that has been pumped into that direction. Let us see the effect that it has on us. Because all this, it really matters to us as citizens of the country. It matters how the money that is being borrowed, or how the revenue that the country collects, how it's being used. Is it properly channeled to the right places where it's supposed to be? So these refineries that we are talking about, it's something that the governments really need to look into and privatize it, if that's the right thing to do. Because this call for privatization is what I truly agree with. We want those that can undo it to take over the refineries. All the refineries in the country, yes, if they're open to selling it, then those people should be able to take over it and make it work. We should stand like the giant of Africa that we are, and not depend on import of fuel, and not depend on import of petrol. This is not how it's supposed to be. It's been many years, but the country is yet to stand. Many years of independence, yet there are so many things that are not right in the system that the government needs to do, look into, ensure that it's working properly. So this is a call in agreement with the Manufacturers Association to ask the government to do either they sell it to a private investor, or they fix it, and not the one that is going to take years to fix. It's the one that we want to see now. Is what we want to see. We want to see the results. We want to know that they are really doing something in the energy sector. They are really doing something to ensure that these petrol prices, they are going down, and not the other way around. That they are doing something to ease the burdens on the citizens. So yes, for me, I believe that they should privatize the refineries. Maybe it can yield a very positive result for the citizens. So yeah, this is why we call it a close, because we are already beyond time, and this is the end of it. We want to say thank you for being part of High Voltage on Volt 104.3 FM. Join us again tomorrow for more news, for more analysis, and for more of your voices. And remember, if you missed any part of the show, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel on High Voltage News. Like, comment, and share the video for others to be part of the community.